Welcome to Cohort 4. LRon here with part 51 of my Minecraft 123. So, as I've mentioned or warned in the previous cohort, we now have 4 videos going simultaneously. So, the top left camera is going to be called Camera 1. That is the first chunk of time. Since everything's sped up 4x at this point, that means that's the first 40 minutes of gameplay. And then the top right will be the second 40 minutes, so basically the 40 minutes immediately after camera 1's stuff is what's seen on camera 2. Then the following 40 minutes is on the lower left, which will be camera 3, and you've probably sensed the pattern by now, but camera 4 will be the bottom right, and that will be the fourth chunk of 40 minutes. So, we're getting 4 videos for the price of 1 here. That's going to be nice and efficient because what we're doing is going to be extremely repetitive. We are going to continue upon our plans with the farm, and I kind of laid out what I was going to do in this cohort at the end of the previous cohort. Basically, we are going to take what we have so far and standardize the dimensions of the sheep pens, and then from there we will continue making more layers going down and down and down. So basically we need to mine out a nice big box, then and light it, of course, along the way, and then we will fill in the floors with dirt and migrate grass from the floor above it down to the present floor that we're working on, and then make ourselves those little torch things in the corner to let us know where the boundaries are, because if we're just eyeballing it, then we're not going to get consistent dimensions. And then basically rinse and repeat. Alright. And then at some point we also create a nifty little minecart tunnel that has powered rail. I decided to do that instead of the Hyperloop boating because of several factors. One of which being that we can just have one track that works both directions. If I went with the Hyperloop Gambit, I would have had to have made one that goes in and one that goes out. And then it's also faster to lay rail than it is to place water and trapdoors and stuff in strategic locations. And camera 3 is now taking XYZ coordinates. He's trying to figure out where to basically place that tunnel. And camera 4 sees us using redstone torches to essentially power those rails. Because I actually forgot that we needed to turn on powered rails. I forgot that they weren't on by default. So I had to make myself some redstone torches and fill them in later. And given the fact that I always want them on, I just placed the redstone torches in place and didn't have any mechanisms or anything, because the mechanisms would basically just make it take more effort and we would never end up using it. Alright, so camera 3 is now digging for the mine rail. He's only digging 2 high now, but we'll need 3 high eventually. I think I do come back and get the 3rd high. I think I'm just testing the waters right now, figuring it out. And we've opened up to our first opening from back when we were mining straight down in our primary base. And so we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to dig out to close to the ladder and build a little staircase and basically kill two birds with one stone instead of having to make some awkward, you know, second basement level and maybe third basement level. It doesn't really line up properly and all that kind of stuff. With this, we just take what we actually have and then, of course, block it all off to make sure that it's extra safe. I mean, nothing's spawned in here, but better to be paranoid. So just block off all the unnecessary parts, and eventually we'll replace that with staircase. Anyone want a fun fact? Alright, well, I'm going to give it to you anyways. Um, Unlike with Terraria, when I went to go and voice over this, I found out that my speech was getting garbly, like syllables were being lost, and there was like little static and stuff. Um, Basically, it was doing too much trying to have 5 different video panes, 5 different audio panes, plus the 5 watermark panes, and the heckler pane, all going in combination with me trying to record audio on top of it. So my grand solution was to render it without voiceovering, and then take the product of that rendering and voice over that instead. And from the little bits that I've been sampling, it seems like it is working. Um, so basically it doesn't have to think about as much because think of it like Photoshop. In Photoshop, you've got maybe up to hundreds of layers for a complicated thing, but then when you go to save it as a JPEG, it flattens it all out so that if you went into Photoshop again, you would just have a finished piece, and you wouldn't be able to play with the various layers because you saved it as a JPEG and those layers were lost. So I think generally the idea is now Vegas is treating all of these components as one video, and that makes it not have to think as much, which means that it doesn't consume as much processing power or RAM or whatever the limiting factor happens to be. And so it looks like it's working out, so that one additional step will slow me down a little bit when I want to do this, but it is not a big concern. And then as an added bonus, Heckler's saying some really stupid stuff. He's responding to my previous voiceovers. But no, I'm not going to die at all in this cohort, Heckler, so you're going to be denied that. So there is that. I forget what he was even trying to say with that in mind. But I guess the timing of it was kind of funny. Because I don't see how it's any concern to him if I have to render twice to get 4 cameras going at the same time. I mean, that's really just something that would bother me, if anyone. But, he's acting like it's, some big thing that offended him. So it looks like camera 3 is making the rails that we'll need for our tunnel. That's going to be exciting. Powered rail does require gold, so we're finally making some use out of all that gold that we've mined out earlier. Just as a friendly reminder for those who aren't really in the know, gold can be used to make tools and armor and stuff, but its durability sucks. Like, you're not going to go very far with those gold items that have durability. That's it for this video. I'll see you next video.